guys, it's me Kai and I'm back with another video. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day today. Today I decided to talk to you guys about my labor and delivery story. I know that I kind of went backwards and I introduced you guys to Isaac first, and now I'm kind of going backwards and telling you guys about my labor and delivery, and then I'm going to talk to you guys about how I ended up with gallstones and an inflamed liver. I'm going to talk to you guys about just everything in detail and try to knock off these things that has happened. Life has been crazy. It's finally slowing down. We're finally getting into a spot where we're getting in the groove of things. As far as me and my husband go, we are getting kind of settled in. You know, everything is starting to feel more sweet, more nice, more calm. I thought I should take advantage of filming this while my son is currently with my mom. So yes, thank God. As much as I love being a mother and I love spending time with my baby, it is absolutely wonderful when I get the chance to just do. Even though I must say I do miss him, guys. Anytime I'm not with him, I miss him. Even if he's sleeping and I'm awake, I miss him. Anyways, so yeah, let's get into this labor and delivery story. So I first want to start out by saying, and you guys already know this, if you guys have already been watching my videos, you guys have already been watching my mukbangs, you guys already know that my due date was February 19th. So that was the day that Isaac was supposed to be born. One thing that I noticed is my body was not ready to deliver. So long story short, I'm a lot like my mom, and my mom, the same thing happened with her. Like, her mind was ready and all this stuff, but her body was not ready to deliver me. So the same exact thing happened to me with Isaac. I had already lost my mucus plug. My water did not break. I was having Braxton Hicks contractions. So I started having those quite early, to be honest. I'll say I started having Braxton Hicks contractions around 7 months pregnant, I'll say. And I had them in my back. So I had Braxton Hicks and they were getting stronger and stronger, but I was not having real contractions yet at all. My cervix was completely closed. So my OB couldn't even strip my membranes. Like, nothing was happening, okay? My body was closed. The shop was closed for a business, okay? I was getting anxious. I was getting sad because, you know, towards the end of your pregnancy, you get really excited. You start to look forward to meeting your child, you know? You see the last little bit, like the little ultrasounds. You see the 3D ultrasound and all this stuff, and it just, the anticipation, and like it gets worse and worse and worse as time goes by, and you just start to just, you know, you dream about holding them and kissing them and looking at them in their eyes for the first time. You know, you start to want that. So I started to get really anxious, and you know, every week I had family members and friends and just everybody asking me, you know, baby yet? And every single day I was like, nope, no baby yet. My body was also really, really hurting a lot. Like, I was super achy all the time. And, you know, I was just getting uncomfortable. I was getting to the point where I was tired of being pregnant. So anyway, so where was I at? I'm having intermissions even without my son. Like, what? I was at the point, and I'm sure a lot of you mothers out there who have already had a child before, you know what that feeling is like when you're just tired of being pregnant. You want to be able to fit in your clothes again. You want to be able to, like, look at your toes. You want to be able to bend over, do simple things, tie your shoes, you know. So yeah, I was at that point where I was just over it, and I just wanted to see my baby. I just wanted my body back. I wanted my mind back, everything, right? I would say I was about 39 weeks pregnant, and I was having weekly checkups at my OB at that point. And every week, like, it was like, nope, cervix still closed, nope. Nothing's happening. Nope. Well, I will say this. The one thing that was for sure was Isaac's head was definitely all the way down. Like, it was in position. So that was a good thing, but everything else was not happening. Like, no water breaking, no real contractions, nothing like that. So I was getting disappointed. I was getting sad. I was getting anxious. But at the same time, like I said, like everybody knows, everything happens for a reason. And when I think back on it, it was not the right time for him to come. You know, we were moving and it was just so much stuff that was, you know, happening that we needed more time for. So I will say, this is just so crazy just thinking back on this. So I did end up having Isaac a week late. So not that late, but I was 41 weeks pregnant when I had my son. So this is so insane. I will never forget it. We had just moved into our place. And when I say moved into our place, I don't mean like moved in, sleeping, moving in, having normal like home life stuff. No, I mean we had just got our keys and we were just putting our stuff in the house. And it was February 26th. And we moved into the same complex as my god family at the time. And they only lived like a few doors down. My god sister actually has a daughter named Aubrey. And she's 2 years old. She's so cute. She's so sweet. And I was over there. And I remember I was there and we were watching Frozen 2. Because I had never seen it at that moment in time. I knew you guys were probably like, what? But actually, little tidbit, I'm not a huge fan of Frozen 1. So I was just like, do I want to see Frozen 2? I don't know. So, okay, it's one of Aubrey's favorite movies. So she wanted me to watch it with her. So that's what I did. I sat down, started watching it, whatever. And I started to finally feel contractions. Now this is, okay, so I started to, this the day before I had him. So I started to feel contractions. And I knew that they were contractions because I could feel like it was a difference. Like I had to stop and take deep breaths this time. Like I was counting how long they were lasting, how many minutes apart they were, stuff like that. So I told my god sister that. I'm like, hey, I think I'm having contractions. Like, I don't know. And her mom was like, no, you're not having contractions. If you were having contractions, you'll be on the floor crying and screaming. And I'm like, no, I swear I can feel it like I'm having them. You know, like I knew it. I was sitting there and I'm like, okay, I'm feeling them. But they were not bad. They weren't like horrible, like my auntie was trying to tell me. They weren't really, really bad. But yes, I felt them and I knew that they were not Braxton Hicks contractions. Less time. Okay, honey. Once I hit the 40-week mark, my OB did schedule an induction for me. So I already knew that I was going to be induced the next day anyway, but you know, I was thinking like, okay, am I having this baby tonight? Because, you know, the contractions were hitting and I'm like, what's happening? I got through that, got through the night and everything. Next morning, it was on and popping. It was game time. I started to realize like, oh crap, I am having a baby today. Like I was in my head, I was scared, I was excited, I was nervous, anxious, every feeling in the entire world that you could ever feel when you know you're about to have a baby is the feeling that I felt. So, okay, I made sure I had my hospital bag together, which I will make a video on that, like what to put in your hospital bag and all that good stuff. But yeah, so I had to make sure my hospital bag was together. My husband had to make sure his stuff was together because obviously he was going to be there with me. And to remind you, this is all before the virus stuff started happening. So the visitor rules were different. They were still quite normal. All this stuff was normal at this time. Thank God, by the way. I feel so bad for you guys that have to have babies throughout this time. Like, I cannot imagine that. So I'm praying for you. But anyways, so okay, we were getting all of our stuff together and I will never forget the feeling that I felt. First of all, as we were walking in, it was a complete freaking snowstorm. Okay, so we go to the hospital and it's freezing. There's snow everywhere. And it reminds you, like, the week before that, it was like barely any snow. So I'm like, okay, of course, the night that I'm scheduled to get induced, there's a huge freaking snowstorm. So, okay, we pull in. It's snowing. It's freezing. My husband and I are trying to get everything in. I'm big pregnant. I'm exhausted. My feet are hurting. I'm feeling swollen. And I'm just ready to have this baby. So, okay, I walk in and I register myself and they went ahead and set me up to the labor and delivery floor. And I remember I was just so anxious. Like, I was just like, oh my God, how come this is happening? So, okay, they put me in the room. I changed out of my clothes into my gown and stuff like that. And it was on and popping. When I say they were not wasting any time, no time. Okay, I walked in and the lady came in. They asked me all my questions and stuff like that about my pregnancy, blah, 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 blah. They, you know, took my vitals, all that good stuff. And then the lady was like, and I asked her, I said, so when are we going to start the induction? And she was like, right now. And I'm like, what? Like, I was not ready for it to be like that fast. I was not even in the hospital 20 minutes yet before they started the inducing process. So it started out with, so she told me, I can't remember what pill it's called. I'm going to look it up and try to tell you guys later, but it starts with an M. And she was telling me that because my cervix was still closed. Okay, so that's what they did. So they tested my cervix first to see if it was still closed. And they did. So they went ahead and checked for dilation. And I was 1.5 centimeters dilated. And I know that that's like nothing. And you guys are like, what? That's not that big of a deal, whatever. I was so happy when she told me that I was 1.5 centimeters dilated. And it's because my body did nothing, guys. Like, it was not doing anything. It was not showing any signs of getting ready to go through labor. So I was just happy that my body did something on its own, you know? So that was, you know, good to know. But I also felt like, holy crap, if my body was hurting that bad and I'm only 1.5 centimeters dilated, just imagine what 10 centimeters feels like.
Oh God, he's so mad. Oh God.
Like, okay, so I'm in my head, right? And she was telling me, she's like, okay, you're 1.5 centimeters dilated. She's like, we're going to start giving you these pills like every 4 hours. It's supposed to soften your cervix and, you know, stuff like that. So I asked her, I'm like, does it hurt? And she's like, no. And she was telling me, and I asked her, I said, is it going to put me into labor? She's like, she said that it could put me into labor, but 99% of people don't go into labor from it and it'll be fine. And she was just like, I'm going to be able to sleep and I probably won't have my baby till the next morning. You know, definitely no baby that night. So I'm like, okay, cool, whatever. So, and I knew I was going to be overnight. I knew I was going to be spending the night there too. So she gave me the first pill right off the bat. Boom, first pill. Didn't feel anything. Everything seemed to be fine. But I was still having contractions. But they were like on and off. They weren't horrible or anything like that. So, okay, my husband, we were just like talking and everything. And he got ready for bed. I got ready for bed. You know, I was getting ready to go to sleep. My family did stop by to see me one last time without the baby and to give me words of encouragement and to pray and all that good stuff. And then they went home because, you know, we knew it wasn't going to happen probably to the next morning because I knew, because also another tidbit is they did tell me over the phone that the reason why they wanted me to come in at 8 p.m. was because it was going to take like up to 10 to 12 hours for anything to happen at all. So we were thinking in our minds, okay, he won't be here until 11 a.m. the next morning, 1 p.m. We don't know. We really didn't know. We were thinking that it wasn't going to be until like later in the day, you know, the next day. So anyways, okay, so I went ahead and went to sleep. Now this is when things start to get a little foggy because from that moment on, everything just started happening so fast that I could not really, I still to this day can't even like believe I even went through this stuff, first of all, and second of all, it just happened so fast. Like, it felt so fast. Hubby and I are sleeping. They were monitoring my belly. They were monitoring Isaac the entire time. They had little baby monitor on my belly and stuff like that. And I think like after the first like 2.5, 3 hours or something, they came in, checked my cervix again, and I was at a 2.5, 3. And at that point, my contractions were bad, guys. Like, I was sleeping, but not really sleeping. You know what I mean? Like, I was not comfortable. My stomach was hurting. I like couldn't really lay all the way down. Like, couldn't really lay on my side. Like, I tried to sit up. I tried to like, you know, it just wasn't working. Like, I was not comfortable, guys. I could not sleep. It just felt like, it feels like grinding. Like, it feels like there's, I think I said this to my husband, like, not even that long ago. I was like, it feels like, or my mom, somebody, I was like, it feels like a meat grinder, just like in your stomach, just like grinding your organs. That's That's the best description that I can give to you guys of what those contractions felt like. And I'm over here like, okay, I gotta be at a 6 or 7 right now. Like, this is crazy. So I'm thinking in my head like, okay, when can I get this epidural? Because I am team epidural, guys. I don't care about all the horror stories I've heard and all the whatever. I knew that I wanted the epidural, okay? Because I am not good at tolerating pain that well. And I just, oh, my whole life I've had a low pain tolerance. It got a little bit higher as I got older, but girl, sis was in pain, okay? So I called the nurse and I had her come back in there. I had been sleeping for like a few hours at this point. Remember, sleeping. And I just asked her, I was like, hey, like, can I get the epidural? Like, when can I get the epidural? Like, I know you have to be at a certain number. Like, I could have swore I was at 6 to 8 centimeters dilated by that point. And she was like, well, let's check your cervix and let's see first before we can say yes or no to the epidural. And I'm like, okay. And at this moment in time, my husband was like in and out of sleep. And my husband's name is Kiari, by the way. So I'm just going to call him Kiari from now on. He comes back. She's like, you're at a 4. And I'm like, a 4? 4 centimeters dilated? Are you freaking kidding me? So she asked my doctor. I was literally praying that she would confirm that I can get the epidural because I was in so much pain and I was so exhausted at that point in time. I just really wanted to get some real sleep. So yeah, and I'm a big baby, and in my mind I'm like, oh my god, I cannot go through this without my mom. Like, I cannot believe I'm going through this without her, whatever. Also, I'm like, okay, but she'll be here when I actually give birth. Like, it'll be fine. So the doctor came in and she told me that they can go ahead and give me the epidural. So at this moment in time, I am freaking out internally because I hear a lot of people talk about getting the epidural and, you know, that there's like a little pain and it's scary and it, you know, I don't know what to expect. So I'm like in my head, but Kiari did get up and they let him stay in the room. Thank God. They let him sit right in front of me and they let me hold his hands, but I had to be still. And that's what happened. So like 3 girls came in, either 3 or 2, and somebody was behind me, and there was 2 people in front of me, I think, or 1 person in front of me, 1 person behind. Can't remember. So a little fuzzy. And I remember they let the bed up like really high, and I remember I was so freaking sleepy. Oh my god, I was so exhausted. And they told me to like lean my back. Now some people are dramatic about this. Like they say like, oh, you gotta be like really hunched over. No, it wasn't even like that. Like, yes, you have to bend your back, like kind of like this. It's not more than that though. I can guarantee that it was not that extreme. But she told me to lean over and she like explained to me what it was gonna feel like. She did count down, but it did not feel the way I thought I was gonna feel. It wasn't even like pain. It was more like the sound of the needle going in my bone is what freaks me out the most. And even though she told me to be still, and you are supposed to be still, my body like naturally, and I kid you guys not, I was trying so hard to be still. Like I thought I was gonna be still, but my body just like jerked just a little bit, and it scared me. I'm like, oh my god! Like in my head, I didn't actually say anything out loud. I actually handled it like a champ. You know what I'm saying? Inside, I was internally freaking out, if you know what I mean. But I'm not gonna lie, my husband sitting in front of me, like just looking at me and rubbing my hands, it made me feel a lot better. Like it made me feel like, okay, I got this. So okay, but it was quick. The epidural was quick. So okay, they did that, and I kid you not even 10 minutes later, I didn't feel any pain. I slept like a baby. I immediately went to sleep. I looked over, my husband was knocked out, and I'm thinking, okay, cool. Now I'm in the right mindset to have this baby tomorrow morning, right? At this point, it's probably about 2, 3 in the morning. I'm really not sure, guys. I do not know what time it was. But I'm guessing it was like 2, 3, 4, maybe 4 in the morning. I don't really know. Okay. I went to sleep, and I think this was an hour later. I don't know, maybe 2 hours. I'll say I slept for a total of maybe 2.5, 3 hours. I really don't know how long I slept, guys. Everything is such a blur, but I know it wasn't a long time. And I remember my nurse came in and she's like, hey, do you feel those contractions at all? And I'm like, no, I don't feel anything. Like, I literally felt nothing. And she was like, okay, they're coming in kind of fast, because reminding you guys, they were monitoring me from the baby monitor. They could see everything, like, you know, on the screen, whatever. And she's like, they're coming in kind of fast, so we're gonna make sure that we come in here a little bit more often just to make sure everything's okay. And I'm sitting there like, what? Like, they're coming in fast? Because I couldn't feel anything after epidural. Like, when I tell you guys, I felt absolutely nothing. I felt absolutely nothing. So I'm just like, okay, you know. And she's like, we'll still try to sleep, you know, everything's fine. I'm like, okay. So, okay, I went ahead and I went back to sleep. And I'll say I was maybe asleep again for maybe like another hour. I don't know. It felt like 15 minutes, but I know it wasn't. So anyways, I went back to sleep, and then I told Kiari that everything was fine. And I'm thinking everything's fine. This is when it got on and popping. Like, oh my goodness. So, okay, I was knocked out. Like, I was so knocked out that I was like almost in a comatose state. And all of a sudden I kind of heard like a little like rustling, like something was moving, but I wasn't 100% sure. And I kind of like opened up my eyes just a little bit, and then I noticed there was like 10 people in the room. And I'm like, whoa, what's happening? And I remember my OB came in. She was there. My nurse was there. It was like 4 people putting on equipment and looking like they were getting ready. And I'm like, oh my God.
What the hell we gonna do now?
What's happening? Like, I freaked out. And my OB was like, it's okay, sweetheart. Don't panic, relax, calm down. Everything's gonna be okay. And I'm like, what's happening? Like, why is there so many people in here? And she was just like, okay, well, don't freak out. And I'm thinking in my head, when you tell people don't freak out, the first thing that they do is freak out. But okay. So she was just like, don't freak out, but your contractions, and this is before I got, I'm trying to remember, did I get Pitocin or not? I think I did get Pitocin, but I can't remember if this happened off of those pills, because I think I took like 2 of those pills that were supposed to soften my cervix. I didn't even get to the 4 pills that I was supposed to take. I know I didn't get to the 4, but I'm not sure. I think I got Pitocin. Something happened. I don't know. Something happened. And whatever they gave me, it did put my body into active labor. Like my body was thrown into it. And it was happening way too fast. It was happening too harshly, is the best way I comprehended what the doctor was trying to tell me. But basically, she was telling me that every contraction that came was making Isaac's blood pressure drop. And it was putting him in distress. So I had to have an emergency C-section. And when I first heard that, you know, that was a lot of information, you know, at once. I just heard that my son was in distress. So I was sad. Then I was worried. And then I was just scared, because I never thought I would have a C-section, guys. Like, I thought I was going to at least be able to try to push. But no, they were just like emergency C-section. And my first thought is, oh my God, my mom is not even here. Like, my family's not here. Nobody's here. It's like everybody's at home right now. Like, what the heck? So, okay, I woke Kiari up. I was like, Kiari, get up, get up, get up. It's time. It's happening right now. Like, we got to go right now. And it was so funny because my husband was knocked out cold. He was like, what? And the doctors were like, yeah, she has to have an emergency C-section. So they like explained it to him and everything. And he was like, okay. And I love how, like, even though he was afraid, just like I was, he like jumped into action. He woke up, he got himself together. They like got suited up and everything, and they like took the bed, and they rolled me into the room. Like, it was so fast. I didn't even get a chance to think. Oh my goodness. I was terrified, guys. Let me remind you, I've never had a surgery before. Ever in my life. I've never broken a bone. The only surgery I've ever had is oral surgery on my gums. And that's it. I've only had that. So to go from that to like a C-section where you get your stomach cut open, just the thought of that is terrifying. So I immediately started praying. And I'm like, God, please let this go okay. And please let Isaac be okay. And let everything just be okay. Like, I was so scared. So, okay, they rolled me in the room. It was even more people in that room. Everybody's talking. Everybody's getting stuff together. Everybody's setting things up. And I'm just laying there like, oh my goodness. Like, can I believe this, So, okay, I closed my eyes. I just started deep breathing because I'm like, okay, I gotta breathe through this. But I'm not gonna lie, the first thing I thought in my mind was, where's my husband? Because Kiari was not in the room yet. And I'm just like, okay, he needs to be in here when his son is born. Like, I was just like freaking out. So then they went ahead and they're like, oh, he's on his way. He's just setting up because, you know, he had to put on the gown and the hat and the blah, blah, blah. I'll show you guys pictures soon. But anyway, so that happened. And then I saw him and it made me feel so much better, guys. I cannot express to you guys the feeling of calm that I instantly felt when I saw my husband. Like, oh, just looking at him and seeing how calm he was and how happy he was made me feel calm and happy. Even though I wanted my mom there so bad, I felt so peaceful that it's like God was letting me know that everything was gonna be okay. They were telling me that they were rubbing the numbing stuff on my belly and they were explaining to me what I was getting ready to feel. So okay, I felt that. I felt them rub some, because let me remind you, when you're having a C-section, they have this thing up like over your face so you can't see anything that's happening to you. All you can do is hear noises. Ugh! And that was hard for me, I'm not gonna lie. Hearing those noises was like so scary. But anyway, so okay, they were explaining it to me. I felt the stuff. I saw the color of the stuff they were putting on my belly. It was like orange. And then they, you know, and it happened so fast, I kid you not. It felt like the C-section lasted 10 minutes, but I know for sure it really wasn't that long. It literally was like maybe 30 minutes long. I don't even think it was that long. 1 minute they're setting everything up and rubbing things on me and stuff, and then the next minute I heard cutting. Like I could hear it. Like I couldn't feel anything. Now let me explain to you guys what it felt like. It felt like you can feel moving and tugging, but it doesn't hurt. It just feels like somebody's like playing around in your organs. That's what it feels like, but it doesn't feel like they're hurting you, if that makes sense. But at the same time, I had the epidural, so I'm numb. Like I cannot feel diddly squat, guys. So okay, I felt like I heard the machine of them cutting my stomach open. And the entire time this is happening, Kiari is just sitting behind me. Like he was like behind me, like right behind like my head, and I could hear his voice, and he was just like, I love you so much, you're so beautiful, you're doing amazing, everything's gonna be fine, you're doing so good. Like he was just saying the most encouraging things, and it was just making me feel so wonderful, guys. Like it's almost as if he was like helping me get my mind off of the fact that there was a bunch of people inside of my stomach, you know? And then next thing you know, it's like before I knew it, I heard the doctor say, okay, I see him. And when I heard her say that, like my heart just started like pumping. I'm like, oh my God, I'm getting ready to see him. Like it hit me in that moment that I was getting ready to see my son. And she was like, okay, we're about to take him out. And at that moment, I'm just like, oh my God. Like I cannot explain to you guys how I felt. Like it was just mind blowing. And I felt it. I felt them lift him up out of my stomach. And I was just like, like I could feel it, but I couldn't hear him crying yet because he wasn't crying. My baby is a very chill baby. He was just like, what's up, world? But anyways, they were like, okay, here he is. And then I heard them say, let's give him a tap to make him cry, because he wasn't crying, you know. And I was just like, is he okay? Because I was scared that I didn't hear crying. And she's like, oh, he's fine. And next thing you know, I heard his little whine. Oh, and it wasn't even like a cry. Like my baby just kind of whined a little bit. And guys, when I felt that, I mean, when I heard his voice, oh my God, I'm trying not to get emotional. Hearing his voice, there was nothing I could do but cry. I just started bawling. Before I even saw him, I just started bawling. And then Kiari stood up, and I could see Kiari's facial expression, and he was just so happy. Like he just had the biggest smile on his face. He had like a Kool-Aid smile, like, and I was like, is he okay? And Kiari was like, he's great, like he's beautiful. And I was like, oh my God, like I just could not wait to see him. And then I saw them, I looked over and I saw them bring him over to like that little thing to like clean him off and stuff. And I was just like, oh my God. And they held him up so I could see his face. And I just, guys, it was the best moment of my entire life. It was like in that moment when I saw him, when I laid my eyes on my son, it's like I just knew that the rest of my life would be great. I can't even explain the feeling to you guys. It's the best feeling in the entire world. It truly is. I mean, like all of my worries, all of my pain, all of my fear and everything just went away. It was the best moment of my life. Oh, guys, I can't even explain. They cleaned him off, they weighed him and everything. They let Kiari bring him over to me. And I got to look at him up close. I got to smell him. I got to touch him. It was nothing but pure joy. Like, it was a miracle. It was the best thing in the entire world. And, you know, if I could go back, I wouldn't change a thing. As much as I wish I could have tried to push, and as much as I wish it could have gone the way that I would have wanted it to go, I wouldn't change anything. I wouldn't even change him being a week late because he was so perfect. He was so perfect. He was everything I could have ever imagined. And that was it. That was when I met my son. And it was the best day of my life. So I just want to say, and I'm going to end that video here, and I'll make another video explaining more details about my postpartum, how I healed from my C-section after, how I transitioned, all those things I'll make videos on so you guys know. So try to stick with me throughout this journey if you want to. But I want to end this video with saying that becoming a mother is one of the best experiences that you could ever go through in your entire life. Becoming a parent in general is a blessing, and don't take it for granted, guys, because so many people out there cannot conceive, or, you know, they're going through a lot, and it's sad. So when you are able to, be thankful and be grateful no matter how it happens. And that's one thing I do want to say that I'm very happy that I didn't have, was a birth plan. I did not make a birth plan because at the end of the day, it's cool to write it up and to imagine it and to hope for it, but to automatically like say that, oh, this is how it's going to happen step by step. You don't know how your baby's going to get here. You don't know what's going to happen in the moment. Anything can change. So a little bit of advice for people who want to be moms, or who are thinking about trying, or who are getting ready to have a baby. I just want to tell you that everything's going to be okay, no matter how the baby comes. And don't be afraid, even though you're going to be afraid. Don't be too freaked out. Don't be worried, because everything's going to be fine, and your baby's going to be perfect, and your baby's going to be beautiful, and your baby's going to be just for you. And find comfort in that, because I know I did, and I wouldn't take it back. I wouldn't change anything about it, because Isaac is the best thing that has ever happened to me. He's the second best thing, after having, obviously, the best. God is the best thing that's ever happened to me, then my husband, and now my Isaac. And he means the world to me. So thank you guys for watching this video. I hope it wasn't too long and too detailed and too much. Love you guys so much. Thank you for watching this video. Please leave me comments of your labor and delivery stories. Tell me what, you know, if some of the same things happened to you, if yours was completely different. Let's talk, let's communicate, let's get to know each other, let's be there and support each other, because as moms, as parents, as young people, people in general, we need each other. We need to be there for each other. So don't be afraid to leave me some comments. Please don't forget to follow me on Instagram, Renee_. I am I'm starting to become very active on there. So If you guys want to talk to me or just send me a message or anything like that, go ahead and DM me on there. Thank you guys for subscribing to this channel and for watching this video. Next week, I'm going to set a goal to make another intro, a new intro for me and IZPoo. So be looking forward and looking out for that. And I hope you guys are having a blessed and marvelous day. Love you guys. Supersonic.